2021 college football week 5. It's my favorite day of the week during my favorite time of the year, college football Saturday. Now we are in October. Conference play begins in earnest. No more cupcake games. You start seeing pumpkins at the farmer's market. That's when you know college football season is really underway. Joe, big day today.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely incredible day. Some great games. I know you're super excited for the Cincinnati Notre Dame one.
Well, that's among others. It's like we have, all these SEC games today. We've got Big 12 teams battling it out, ACC teams. Whenever you get into conference play, just a totally different game than what we've seen over the past month. I know you can take some of the stuff into account, what we've seen over the past month, but when you get into conference play, it is a different game. And we will see that today. These teams, they know each other extremely well. There's usually a good backstory on a lot of these games as well. So, I usually know a lot of those backstories, so I'll probably be dipping into that. I know Joe had pizza last night, which is always a good prep for the Saturday college football.
It absolutely is. I actually had a buffalo chicken pizza that was to die for. I loved it.
Buffalo chicken pizza?
Yeah. I know, Mitch. It's right out of the wheelhouse.
I don't know if I could do that. It
was delicious.
It's probably good. It's probably, for me, it's like that has to be the second pizza. I have to have just.
Well, I did add fresh tomatoes on top, so it was very good though.
I gotta have the regular, just whatever they want to call it, margarita pizza, just cheese, tomato, basil, sauce.
Yeah, garlic. Well, I'm not gonna lie. I had a cold piece for breakfast this morning, so it was delicious.
Well, that sounds like a good plan, but we got a great schedule today. We got a lot of handicappers on with us today. Not as many as we had last week, but that's just scheduling. And tomorrow, I think we have a ton. It's like as well. So hopefully you guys tune in for that. Just checking what's going on here with the numbers. Good deal. I want everyone to be on when. I just lost something.
Well, let's hear which game is going to make your big screen today, Mitch.
Well, it's pretty. For me, I go gavel to gavel, and. So it's probably going to be, I'm not sure. It's, I think it's going to be that Arkansas-Georgia game between the hedges. And then, possibly the Wisconsin-Michigan, maybe a little flip back and forth. That'll be on the top middle. Will probably be Wisconsin-Michigan. I don't generally like those Fox announcers as much. So... in case there's volume.
You can always mute them. That's what I like to do.
Well, I mute, but if you put them on one of the top TVs, then you don't have to worry about it. Those are auto-muted. So it's fine there. And then I think in the at 2:30 Eastern, the Notre Dame Cincinnati game will probably move to the big set. And then I don't know, Baylor against Oklahoma State tonight, defensive battle. I like that one.
Are you going to watch Fresno and Hawaii?
Probably.
Okay. I don't think there's a game that you're probably not going to watch today.
I think I'll probably get most of them in, and I have the the TV sets all lined up and ready to go. So it's just it's a tough day. It's a good day, but these are always the tough ones because it's like there's so many games. It's hard to watch them all at once, no matter how many TVs you have. What I notice is like they get lost in like a side, on the side or, somewhere like that. You end up just staring at your iPad the whole time at, Army against, whoever they're playing today. But anyways, like I said, we have a good list of cappers here today. We have the first couple of Vegas. Joe and Dionne with us again. And then we have Chris Ruffolo with us. We have Jovan, who's still lighting up the leaderboards over at the website. Got Rod and Brian as well. So, and Al McMordie.
And big Al McMordie, yeah.
Yeah, so just a really solid group of cappers. It's weird because, like, I got up early to get everything together, and I feel like I'm even less together. It's one of those. It's one of those days. It's like there's nothing you can do about it, but just trying to get everybody's labels up so they don't.
Yeah, I find that the more time I have in the morning, the more I procrastinate, more coffee I sit and drink, and then the less I get done. I need to be rushed, under pressure all the time.
Well, I know how to take some of the pressure off of us. We just bring in Joe D'Amico and Dionne. Joe can grab the mic like no one's business and kind of gives me a chance to get everything together. But we welcome Joe and Dionne from Vegas. You know, week 5 now, and week 4 of the NFL. I know that Vegas isn't 100% where it was. What's the action like at the books? I know there's a few factors going on. Number one, we have sports betting across the country now. And, number two, everything that's still going on with COVID. I know that this week is the G2E conference in Vegas. Normally I'm there, every single year. This is the second year in a row that I won't be there this week in October to go to the conference. But I know a lot of people from overseas won't be attending as well. Joe, what's the outlook out there?
Mitch, prior to the health situation we went through the last year and a half or two, Vegas was getting 45, 46, 47 million people a year here. The numbers came in last week that we're getting over 1 million people a week here. I think people really they're ready to get out and have a good time. There's no place better than Sin City to do that. Not only do we're the gambling central of the world, we now have, we've got baseball, we've got hockey, we've got pro football. This talks about NBA. But we also have great weather. We're centrally located. We've got the best day and night clubs in the world. We've got the best shopping. We've got great food. And it's the entertainment capital of the world. But Dionne and I spend a lot of time on the Strip. We were there 3 times over the last 4 or 5 days. And the city is crowded. It's packed. The pedestrian traffic on the Strip, walking on the sidewalks, going into the casinos, are as busy as I can ever remember it for September going into October. And going into the books, we see as many or more people than I ever have during college football season. And what I do like that I see, Mitch, is it's not just guys coming out here or a couple. We're seeing tons and tons of clans, like a clan of females, younger, middle-aged, older, coming out, enjoying sports and sports betting. Because as you mentioned, it is now, legalized in many states, but people still come here to enjoy it and get the most out of it. It's just a great time of year, and Vegas is on fire right now. It's just great.
I can't wait to get back out there. That's for sure. Joe and I will be picking up our check over at Circa in January, but
absolutely.
But I definitely miss it, and my wife and I were just talking about it the other day. It's like it is the ninth island, here in Hawaii. So. If you ever been by the California or that end of downtown, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But anyways, we got great action today. I mean, really, really good games. This is my, I always say it's my favorite day of the week during my favorite time of the year, but this is really my favorite time of the year when the conference games, it's all conference play. These teams, these rivalries go back, to 100 years. And then some. And normally, a lot of these rivalries, the thing about these rivalries is most of these rivalries have nothing to do with football. It's like someone stole someone's pig from their farm and, whatever. And it's like, that's what these are all about. So what do you got for us, Joe, to start things off today?
Well, Mitch, Joe, sports fan, my first game is a little more under the radar, but that doesn't mean there isn't gold at Demdar Hills. I wouldn't put too much stock in the fact that Eastern Michigan got its first cover of the season last week. This is a team that's 3-1 straight up in 2021. Going back a bit, they've won 5 of the last 6 overall. As last season progressed, if some of you recall, the Eagles got better and better with each contest they played in. Their offense is led by an ex-Wisconsin commit, Ben Bryant. The guy's a stud. 65% completion rate, 4 TDs. More importantly to me, guys, 0 INTs. This unit makes very few, if any, mistakes. He's joined in the backfield by not 1, but 2 solid ball carriers, Jawan Hamilton and Darius Boone Jr. The pair have combined for nearly 500 yards rushing, 6 TDs. Throw in the mix. Short yardage running back Samson Evans, another 6 TDs on the ground, and this offense is going to shred the Huskies' 122nd ranked defense. Not only will it cut through the NIUD like a hot knife through butter, guys, but they're going to do it with confidence, knowing the Huskies haven't had a single takeaway this season. Here's some ATS numbers for you. The Eagles, 7-1 the last 10 meetings in the series, 23-8 the last 31 on the road, 25-10 the last 35 as an underdog. I like EMU outright here, but getting a point and a half, 2 points, as it is in some of the books here in Vegas, I think is a gift. I'm as excited about this game today, Mitch, as I am as soon as I'm done with the broadcast, going and making a fresh tiramisu and ravioli for tomorrow's Sunday dinner. That's how excited I am.
That might get me to Vegas. Joe, what are you thinking here? A little bit under the radar, a little maction going on here from Joe D'Amico, not the games that we keep hearing about over and over again.
Yeah, I have to agree with Joe. I think the Huskies are outmatched in this battle. I think they're going to have issues moving that ball. And they're also going to have problems on defense trying to limit Eastern Michigan. So I'm with you, Joe. Give me Eastern Michigan in this matchup to win outright.
Thank you very much.
So we've got inverse line movement on this one as well. Eastern Michigan, 59% of the bets, 71% of the money, and at least from our sample, which we don't even know where it comes from. And also, so that makes for Northeastern 40 or Northern Illinois, 41% of the bets, 29% of the money, but the line opened as a pick'em, and now Northern Illinois in the -1, -2 range at most books. So definitely the sharps all over Joe D'Amico's play in this one. Dionne, what do you got for us today? Awful quiet there. I know you're used to living with Joe, so getting a word in edgewise. Maybe I think Dionne gets the final word, but she doesn't get a word in edgewise, but her words count.
Well, guys, to me it doesn't scare me at all giving Western Kentucky double digits. Michigan State has 3 double-digit victories already this season, 2 outright as an underdog. Oddsmakers are once again making a mistake, underestimating the Spartans. The Hilltoppers do rank #1 in the nation in passing, and the Spartans' pass defense has gotten burned a bit. But looking at their opponents explains this. Western Kentucky hasn't faced any tough defenses, while MSU has gone up against some very good offenses. Overall, the Spartans' D allows only 18 points per game, but the biggest mismatch here is between the MSU strong rushing unit and the very weak Western Kentucky run defense. The Spartans control the time of possession and steamroll the Hilltoppers here. Play Michigan State.
Joe, any take on this one?
What is the line on this one? I was just trying to find the line, and I wasn't able to find it. I can't remember it off the top of my head.
I'm showing 10.5, 11. Opened at
I'll have to agree with Dionne here. I think this is a good spot for them, for sure.
It's one of those games where it's like you'd love to find a way for Western Kentucky to give a battle here and to make a game of it, but I don't see it happening either. I just think Michigan State, like Dionne said, it's not just that they're unbeaten this year. It's that they've played some pretty heavy teams, and when they haven't played even the heavy teams, no, they haven't played Alabama and Georgia, right? Mm-hmm. But they've played, not straight cupcakes like a lot of these other teams, and they've out-physicaled these teams, and that is something that's really been missing from Michigan State in recent years. I think Mel Tucker's doing a great job there, taking over for Mark D'Antonio at Michigan State. And, a lot of people expected a downturn at Michigan State, but it's actually been an upturn. The Spartans look good, and you have to give credit where credit is due. Of course, they have some Big Ten wins, but, and we'll see how they do. We know for them, it's kind of like with me, it's like, they don't really care about all these other games. As long as they beat Michigan, it's all good, right? So it's like, everything is just a preparation for Michigan, and I like their chances this year in that one too. Early call, but I like it. Joe?
Thank you.
D'Amico?
Yes.
We have to give us numbers, me and Joe Madden. We got to go like
Joe Madden is all one word.
Okay, there you go. I've got another team for you, Mitch, and it's going to be a little closer to home for you, if I may. Guys, I'm not usually a big fan of laying double digits on the road in college football, but there are a few situations in the Fresno State-Hawaii matchup that urges me to do just that. This is a team that, once again, is getting bettors paid. 4-1 against the number this season. They crushed UConn, hung in tight with third-ranked Oregon. They decimated CP. They beat UCLA, and then last week they hung on to beat the UNLV Rebels. By the way, guys, UCLA, my alma mater. Not the one in California, the one in New York. University of the corner of Lexington Avenue. Just wanted to throw that out there. I want to talk about that Rebel game real quick, because a lot of times, Joe and Mitch, people judge this week's plays on what a team did last week. let's get real quick. The Bulldogs got off a big high after beating the Bruins, and what we call in the business letdown mode against the Rebels. And to quote Forrest Gump, that's all I have to say about that. They're in letdown mode. No more. Don't overthink that one, guys. They come in here looking to make a statement against an overmatched and outclassed Warriors team. This is one of the nation's top passing units, facing one of the worst pass defenses. Quarterback Jake Haener, another stud. His stats are off the charts, guys. 15 TDs, 2 INTs, 1,842 yards passing. He's going to throw the ball at will here, allow running back Ronnie Rivers to move the chains on the ground. Flip side, Hawaii's only strength offensively is throwing the ball. But once again, Fresno State's pass D, one of the toughest and stingiest in the country. The Bulldogs have covered 5 of the last 6 meetings in the series. Mitch, there's one more angle I really like, and I know a lot about this angle because I'm a Sicilian. It's revenge, guys. Last season's meeting was the worst defeat of. You like that? Last season's meeting was the worst defeat of Fresno's campaign. They say revenge is a dish best served cold. It may be warm in Hawaiian Island, but it's going to get cold at this stadium here. Bulldogs 7-1 the last 8 at the Rainbow Warriors. 8-3-1 the last 12 as a road fave. The Rainbow Warriors 10-21 the last 31 versus teams with a winning record, and 1-5 the last 6 following the straight up wins. I'm laying the points here. I'm going to take my bookmaker's money. Follow me, guys, and you will too.
A lot going on here in Hawaii right now this time of year. Joe Madden, what are you thinking here with this one?
Yeah, I'm agreeing again with you, Joe. I love Fresno on the road here. I think this is a great game for them. They're going to control this game. Hawaii's already had, 11 turnovers so far this season? There's no way I'm taking Hawaii plus the points. Give me Fresno to cover.
I don't love the Hawaii QB situation this season, and I know I'm not going to make any friends with my neighbors on this one, but I got to agree with Joe again on this one too. There's a lot of good things going on in Hawaii right now. A lot of cool things. You guys know the volcano is erupting over on the Big Island, and we've got north swells coming in too. So those bomb waves that you see on TV, all that good stuff is happening. This is our month, right? But I don't think it's this year for the Bows. I think they're really struggling, and I just don't think that the quarterback play. Normally, like the top Hawaiian quarterbacks, you see them across the country. Mackenzie Milton, Tua and Marcus Mariota, and you see these guys all over the place. But at Hawaii, they generally still get a good QB too. But this year, I don't know. This guy seems to be a little bit subpar. So I'm with you in this one as well.
Thank you, Mitch.
What do you guys got for sale today at PickDawgz for everybody?
Well, I'm at 85% at 11-2 in college football after another winner last night. Today I have 4 big winners in NCAA football with my touchdown, my lucky sevens, my no limit, and my high roller plays, and they're all available right now at PickDawgz.
Awesome. How about you, Joe?
Well, guys, with another winner last night, Iowa 6-1 last 7 college football premium releases. Today I've got 5 big winners. My odds makers mistake, they're 1-0 this season already. My annihilator 2-0 this season. My Pac-12 game of the month early in the month. That's how much I love this play. My consensus play, Mitch, Joe, they're 4-0 this college football season. I'm going to stay perfect today. My 64-27-1 touchdown. Individually, you can buy these individually. You can combine them. They're like $200. I have a 5-game discount over at PickDawgz. You get all 5 big winners today for one low price, or even maybe better, 3, 7, or 30-day package, or even, you know what? Team me up with the winningest D'Amico in the house. This one over here, get a 2-for-1 or something like that, or even my Bash brother, Jovan, Rod, Chris Ruffolo, or Joe Madden, who I happen to see on the leaderboards all over the place. It's amazing. But I'm very excited about today's card, Mitch. And like I said, I'm as excited about today's card as I am as soon as I get off the broadcast. Make some ravioli, a vodka sauce, and the best tiramisu in the history of the world. That's how excited I am about this card today.
Thank you, Joe and Dionne, for joining us. We always appreciate you guys kicking off the show. But just gets better every week. Dionne, of course, all over the leaderboards. But
thank you.
We love having you guys, and of course, we'll see you. No, we're not seeing you tomorrow morning. We're seeing you guys next.
And we
got
to wait till next Saturday.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a little charity event tomorrow. We do some stuff for Nevada SPCA here, and I know you're a dog lover, Mitch. I know Joe is an animal lover. I know a lot of people on the show have dogs and cats, and we're doing a little charity event tomorrow that, I think it's our civic duty to give back. And we have four fur babies in the house. I know Mitch and I talk about our dogs more than we talk about football. And we have a little charity event tomorrow we're proud to be a part of. So we'll come back next week for sure, because we love doing the show. This is so laid back, having a cup of coffee with my favorite people on the planet, Mitch, Joe, Chris. I know Joe Bynes, my Bash brothers coming on, Rod. Just some of my favorite. And Big Al. I know Big Al so long, Mitch. He used to be Medium Al, and I had hair. That's how long I know Big Al. So I want to thank you for having us again, Mitch and Joe. Everybody out there, good luck and have a winning day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for joining us. We love having you on.
All the best, guys.
Of course, that
Thank
was
you. Have a good day.
the first couple of Vegas, Joe D'Amico and Dionne D'Amico. Dionne, absolutely fire. Of course, Joe, longtime friend, great handicapper for many years. Yeah, they covered a few games that, not necessarily on my radar, but certainly good place to look. And that's kind of like what we do here, right? It's like, we have different cappers, different takes on things. We don't always agree on games, and, different people have their own styles. And, Dionne is new in the industry, right? But she's not new at betting. She's in Vegas. She's betting, and she's really good. And we asked her to be here. She's, if you go back and look at my first videos that I ever did on YouTube, they're hideous. I show everybody these, so it's like a lot easier said than done. So,
Oh, absolutely.
So until you're willing until you're willing to put your ass out there, I would keep it to yourself, because I'm sure we could, find other people that with,
Absolutely.
I think she does great, and most importantly, she gives out winning picks. And
she does.
It's this business. I've been doing it for a long time, and it's like, I had a bad night last night. I had Maryland. I think they turned it over again. I think they just turned it over again, and it's like it's part of it. It's like you got to show up here, win or lose. It's unless that's the difference between us and the other guys, right? Is that we always just keep showing up, and you're accountable, and it's like you don't expect to win them all, and you don't claim to win them all, and any of those things. It's like, but you just keep doing it, and you get better, and you have good days, bad days, good runs, bad runs. We're all just normal people, but it's always interesting to me when you when you see what people say, or everyone's a hero, until their games lose, right? Then we never see these people again, right? In the comments, it's like, so. Anyways, we'll just leave it at that. But Joe, speaking of last night, I got just crushed. I had Tulsa and I had Maryland, so I had two teams that were never in the game. It's like I seriously turned both games off at halftime. I watched not a rerun, but I taped The Bachelor in Paradise. This is how bad things got. I did. I hadn't watched it.
It's sad when you're watching that instead of college football.
I was behind from Tuesday, and I moved it to the small TV, but that's where I was. But anyways, let's bring in a guy that has been absolutely straight fire for the last month or so, Jovan Burts. We got him from our Become a Capper contest, and I'll tell you what, man, he became a capper, and he's taking names. Jovan, welcome.
He's taken over.
Welcome to the show, and man, you're on a heater.
Good morning, Mitch. Good morning, Joe.
Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Trying to just keep it rolling.
The thing is, it's like you live in an area of the country that's not really known as a college football region, but you're still just hammering these games. It's, I'm from, the college football league where it's, we grew up, this was the number one thing, this was our number one sport. But, you're from the Northeast, and it's like not necessarily, it's kind of NFL and Major League Baseball, I think, are bigger, right? And NBA, of course, in the Boston area, gigantic, right? So, but still continuing to get it done. What do you like today?
Yeah, I'm a sports guy, so it starts there. So college football, right in my wheelhouse. When I was growing up, Doug Flutie, caught the imagination of the other region, And BC in the '90s, they had a couple major upsets, and just being in tune with all sports, basically. But today I have two that I like to key in on. One is Oklahoma versus K-State going into Manhattan. A team where they haven't had much success against in the last 2 years. They've lost. K-State is one of those teams that has a deep tradition of home dog outright winners. Started off with Snyder, longtime head coach, and it's continued with Chris Kleiman. Chris Kleiman is 4-0 against the spread as a home dog, since he's been there. And, the only reason why this isn't a premium play for me is because there's questions at quarterback. But, throughout this year, the Sooners, they haven't looked right. Their first game of the season, they were blowing Tulane out and then let them come all the way back to make it a real nail biter. So they only won by 5 there. Then, you let a team like Nebraska, keep it close, keep it within 7. And then the last time they were out, when they played West Virginia, they're a good team, but a 3-point game, at home, yeah, something's not sitting right with me with the Sooners. So I'm on the Wildcats in this one.
Spencer Rattler almost booed off the field last week at home in Oklahoma. He was the Heisman Trophy leader, favorite coming into the season. I was never big on this guy. Just seems that Oklahoma's been growing quarterbacks on trees under Lincoln Riley, but Rattler really not falling into place, with what we've seen, Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray and even Jalen Hurts transferring in. The calls from the crowd last week were for Caleb Williams. It'll be interesting to see if he makes it to the field or not this season, because they did put so much into Rattler and promoting him. But he has fallen short. Kansas State certainly a thorn in the side to the Sooners the last 2 years, beating them outright. And, of course, Chris Kleiman, like you said, one of my favorite coaches because he covers like no one's business. Joe Madden, what are you thinking here in the Little Apple, Manhattan, Kansas?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with you guys and go with Kansas State plus the points. I'm liking what I'm seeing out of them, especially against this Oklahoma team whose offense has really been just kind of stagnant these last couple of games. I also like Chris Kleiman's ability to cover. He's 6-2 against the spread as a home underdog, getting that cover for his team. So give me K-State plus the points.
I'm looking at the money line in this game, too. I have a few money line bets on some of these dogs out there today, these live dogs. So I have a little money line action as well on Kansas State. And it's not like it would be all that surprising because, like Jovan said, the struggle against Tulane, you could always say, well, they had, one struggle like that. But it wasn't just the Tulane game. It's been every game except when they played, the real doormat team. I mean, the West Virginia game. They were a missed snap away from losing that game, and in Manhattan they've struggled, here, and that Kansas State offense, even without Thompson, they have been playing well. And the thing is that they have that weird. It just always never looks clean, right? It's never like Tom Brady dropping back the pass, throwing a precision route, to the guy. It's always like these guys, they like come together in the backfield. It's like the hidden ball trick on every single play for Kansas State. It just confuses a lot of teams. This one should be a really good one. It'll definitely make, one of my TVs today. Jovan, what else do you have for us?
Yeah, so my second game, it's a high noon kickoff. It's probably the biggest game of the day, that in the Alabama game. But I'm going to Athens and for the Arkansas-Georgia game, and I'm on the under in this one. Now, these are two top defenses in the country. Georgia's the number one defense in the country by far. The things that they've been doing to teams, it seems unprecedented. Through the first 4 weeks of the season, they've given up 5-point-something points per game. You just don't see stuff like that. one of the biggest questions for me in this game is KJ Jefferson. What is he going to do against this Georgia defense? And him with this injury that he's had, that he got in the second half of last week's game, it's a knee injury. And even if he's out there, how effective is he going to be? Because he's not going to be able to pass the ball with any real effectiveness. So, and Georgia's run defense is top notch. So they're going to need him to run the ball and, not just hand it off to the running backs. So on the other side, Arkansas, they're a damn good defensive team too. And when you have this type of game, it's going to be a smash mouth game, played within the trenches. And, it's just, let's see who wins. This is one of those type of games where the team who wins the battle of the offensive line, defensive line, they'll win the game. But it's going to be a slobber knocker, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, this is a real SEC battle, and Georgia has been totally susceptible at home. Even, between the hedges, as legendary as it is and all of that kind of good stuff, it's not like they're unbeatable at home over the years. I mean, we saw South Carolina go in there and knock the crap out of them just a couple of years ago. I mean, last year, right? Or 2 years ago. And, we've seen it happen time and time again in these big games. They always have the blackout game in Athens, and, I think they're like 1-6 in those, so it's like, the way that Sam Pittman has Arkansas rolling right now, I would say he's the early candidate for Coach of the Year in college football, Pittman, the way he's got the Hogs going. Joe, any opinion on this one?
Yeah, absolutely. Give me Arkansas for the first half on the money line. When we look at the last time they played, Arkansas was leading that first half, and I think it was low scoring, like 5-7. Georgia was behind. I think Georgia will come out in the second half and be able to win it outright. I don't think they'll cover the spread, so I like Arkansas first half money line, and then plus 18.5 for the full game.
Yeah, this is, to me, is just one of those that personifies the SEC. It's just, this is the difference between conference play and non-conference play. It's like this goes back, way back, long before we were all alive. And, it gets passed on, and expect to see, as Jovan was trying to, say there, as he said, slobber knocker, right? It's like some you're going to hear the hitting in this one. And I think, moving the ball, out inside the 20 is going to be very, very difficult here. That Georgia defense is so stout against the run, and Arkansas, top 15 defense also. So it's like these are my games, right? This one has 6-3 written all over it. What do you have for sale today, Jovan?
Yeah, so I got my Saturday Shootout Big Game 7-pack. I'll have 2 other plays put up, late night games, for my long-term subscribers, and I might have a late night package, just in case anyone needs any bailout games. But yeah, that's what I have up there, for not $49.99. You can also check me out on numerous other packages, longer-term packages, what have you.
A lot of people taking advantage of Jovan's longer-term packages, and I'm the one that gets the emails, right? the happy ones and the complaints. And it's like, I got no complaint emails about Jovan's picks over the last month. If you bet $100 a game, well, it's basically a free $100 a day, up almost $3,200.
Wow.
For $100 bettors, which not easy to do, over that long of a term. The last week, I mean, it seems that we say this every week on the show, up $1,150 for $100 bets. So big Saturday here, great card, and of course we're excited to have you as part of PickDawgz, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Absolutely.
All right, we'll see you tomorrow then. That was Jovan Burts, #1 on all the leaderboards at PickDawgz. He is gone from become a capper to the top capper, all within a matter of 12 months, which is pretty amazing stuff. And, I've been in this industry a long time, and I can tell you, to have a unbeaten day, it happens. Anybody can do it. To have a winning week or, winning run, anybody can do it. But to put together winning months is not so easy. And I think when we did, even even in our office pool contest, right? I mean, we don't see too many scores like lighting up the board even without point spreads. So it just goes to show you how difficult it is.
Absolutely. So head on over to PickDawgz.com to get his premium picks.
Abso-frickin-lutely.
I think we need to make you abso-frickin-lutely emoji, because I think you say it more than me now.
I like saying it. I think that now you're conscious of it. Now you're conscious of it, so you don't say it as much anymore. That's
exactly what has happened. I was like, oh man, I must say that a lot.
It's like, you're like, I don't even realize I say it. I'm like, you say it.
Absolutely, I do.
But we just go moving right along. We have Chris Ruffolo with us, and of course, Chris in the process of moving, so it's kind of his excuse for everything these days. But it's just one of those people.
Please don't tell me he's going to Ruffalo all of them today.
It's kind of like one of those people. It's like you go to the, like, they open up a new restaurant in your neighborhood, and they have the grand opening sign up for 7 months. It's like, how long will the grand opening sign be?
Good morning, Chris.
You put it in the box. You put it in the new location. You take it out of the box.
Clearly don't know me. My grand opening sign goes from the main floor, and then when I want to spice it up, I move it up to the second floor. Looks like a completely different place.
So are you in the new digs now? Is this where you're broadcasting from?
Yes, we are. Yeah, I'm in the new digs, in my office, in my soon-to-be man cave.
Nice. I like it. It's a dedicated spot. So what do you think of, I know you've been with us at Sports Chat with me forever, and, doing college football. You took over the SEC for me at Sports Chat when I stopped doing the daily articles there. And, we got a great SEC card. Jovan just went over the Arkansas-Georgia game between the hedges. Just gets me all excited. I'm like, ready to start the game already,
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long time since I think Arkansas has been this kind of relevant in the SEC, and to see this much competition in the SEC, I love it. This was a conflict.
I think the last time they were this good was when J.J. Watt was on Wisconsin and they played Arkansas in the Sugar. Yeah. I think that was the last time Arkansas was good.
Mm-hmm. And then it all started to go downhill.
Well, the Brett Bielema era,
Yes. That was to say Brett Bielema, and those are the only two words you need to say to define Arkansas football and the decline over the last few years.
Fired him on the field. What do you got going on today for your picks?
Well, today I got two marquee games that I really wanted to look at. The first one being this Cincinnati Notre Dame matchup. And a lot of the clamoring I'm hearing is about how is Notre Dame an underdog at home? The Golden Dome, man, this shouldn't be happening. This line's completely wrong. And there are certain spots where you can say, okay, well, there's value with a home dog. This is where I think the line is telling us where we need to be. With Cincinnati, you got Desmond Ridder as trying to make his case as a Heisman favorite. And not only that, but Notre Dame, the first two games, they didn't look overly impressive. Yes, they beat the tar off of Wisconsin in their last matchup. A couple of those were costly turnovers from the Badgers, though, easy fixable mistakes. And I think that if you negate those, it's not as much of a runaway game as Notre Dame made it look on the scoreboard. Now, the other thing is that, this is Notre Dame. They have USC on tap. They have North Carolina. They've got their games. Cincinnati, from a scheduling standpoint, if they're going to want to crash the college football playoff, they're going to want to make their case for one of those big New Year's Bowl games. This is really the only marquee game they have left on the schedule. Yeah, they beat Indiana in their last game. They had an extra week to prepare for this game. But, after this game with Notre Dame, their most high-profile game is either UCF or SMU. And if those are the games you have to kind of rely on to crash the college football playoff, I think it just magnifies what this game against Notre Dame is. I love Cincinnati here. I think we're getting 2 points last I checked. Probably push it up to a field goal. I think they could win this one by at least 4 to 7 points.
Joe Madden.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think this is going to be a great game. This is one that I think is going to come down to last possession, but I think Cincy will take this one. I just like what I'm seeing. They've got such an incredible offense there. And yes, their defense has had a couple of struggles, but I think Notre Dame, when we look at them, they start these games slower, and I look for Cincy to get a head start in this matchup and for them to take it.
Yeah, for me, this is a big game. As a college football fan, lifetime college football fan, as my number one favorite sport as a fan, this is about as big as it gets. This is a game that has a chance to change college football forever. Cincinnati wins this game, we will have a 12-team playoff next year. It will be fast-tracked. It will be because Cincinnati wins here. It's rare that we've had a situation where the team outside of the group of 5 conferences has had a crack at a top 10 team while they're ranked in the top 10. This has never happened before. This is the first time in the playoff era. So, as you said, it's SMU, UCF, from here on in, Memphis, right? So, if Cincinnati wins this game, they will be favored in every game that they play this season, including their conference championship. If they run the table, they will crash the party and be in the playoff. There will be no way to keep them out. It is a monster game. It's hard to even, put your finger on it because it will change the landscape of the game, forever if Cincinnati can pull this off. Right now, we're seeing, a slight edge on the money over the amount of bets here on Cincinnati. 44% of the bets, 40% of the bets, 44% of the money on Cincinnati with the spread. But we're seeing 74% of the money on the money line on the Bearcats in this game to beat Notre Dame, even though the line has moved in this one. It opened at 3. We're in the 2, 2.5, 1.5s I've even seen out there. Brian Kelly, of course, was the head coach of Cincinnati, got them to the Sugar Bowl, did not coach in that game when they got blitzed by Florida. This is about as big as it gets in college football, and it doesn't get to a bigger stage, than South Bend, Indiana on a college football Saturday. This is what it's all about, and it's like as a college football fan, this is our chance, right? This is our chance. It's like every other sport has a playoff. Every other sport has a real playoff. College basketball has the tournament. Division II college football, 16-team playoff. Division III, 16-team playoff. The NFL, playoff. It's like this is the only sport that does not have a true playoff. And today's our day for that to happen. Will they take it away from us? We're going to have to be really, really leery, that could happen. Because there's a lot of people out there that don't want it to happen. That's for sure. And those are the people that call the shots in this game. But like I said, oh, man, chicken skin over here. What do you got next, Chris?
Oh, my other one is going to be, Jovan talked about the Arkansas-Georgia game. I'm going to go to the other marquee game of the SEC today. I'm going to talk about Ole Miss, Alabama, and it may be unpopular for some people with the run that Alabama's been on, but I like Ole Miss and the points in this one. There's certain coaches that people talk about playing their former assistants, Bill Belichick and, Nick Saban playing Lane Kiffin. And the thing is that Lane Kiffin, with this Ole Miss team and Matt Corral under center, has an offense that can give Alabama fits. They can put points on the board in bunches. We've seen, this was a game last year, I believe they finished 63-48. And so it's alarming that Ole Miss gave up 63, but with how good that Alabama defense was, the fact that that Ole Miss scored 48 on them, it gives me some hope that they can keep it close here. You don't necessarily give up 15 points with a total near 80 if you don't think that this one's going to be a shootout, and I think that's exactly what this one could be. Could I see a 45-38 kind of game here? Absolutely. I love the value that we're getting with Ole Miss and the points here. I'm even going to put a little bit on the money line. They pull off the outright upset.
Joe Madden.
I like that. I would love to see them pull off the upset. I think Ole Miss plus the points is definitely the way to go in this matchup. I think we're going to have an old-fashioned shootout between these two quarterbacks. This is going to be a great game. And Ole Miss will keep it tight, losing by a field goal at most or winning this outright in my predictions.
Ole Miss's top receiver out for this game, Mingo, broke his foot like this morning, which is just really bad luck. But at the same time, the line hasn't drastically moved, and the news. It's not like this is a well-guarded secret or something. We're seeing the same line, 14.5s and 15s, maybe a slight pressure highward on it, but not a ton. I've been listening to this all week, and I'm kind of offended that Lane Kiffin is referred to as an ex-Nick Saban assistant. He was the offensive coordinator for like a year or two, right? He comes from the peak. Like when you look at the lines of coaching, all the coaches in college football, right, and NFL football, NBA, and everywhere come from a line of coaching, right? They all come from a line of coaching. And I wouldn't say that Lane Kiffin comes from the Nick Saban line of coaching. He doesn't. He comes from the Pete Carroll line of coaching. His father was the defensive coordinator for years in the as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So how is he out of the Nick Saban line of coaching where he was there for 2 years when he was under Pete Carroll forever? And he was the offensive coordinator on those Reggie Bush teams at USC long before he won a national championship with Nick Saban at Alabama. He won a national championship at USC. So it doesn't really make a lot of sense to me why he's considered in that bunch. Yeah, he worked at Alabama. I mean, that's what I would say. It's on his resume, but I wouldn't say he's one of the assistant coaches that went on to get a job. Just no more than Mario Cristobal is out of the Nick Saban line of coaching, who also had a head coaching job before he was ever the head coach. It's like, so is anyone that's ever worked for Nick Saban out of the Nick Saban line of coaching, even though they have a long storied history outside of this guy, long before and long after? It's ridiculous that it's even put into the same category. I personally don't get it, and I don't know what the point is. Are they just trying to tie him into that angle where he always beats up his assistants? I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I think that might be the only thing that maybe the tie-in's been made just to try to pull at straws to get that connection. But I agree with you. He does have a...
I'm watching anyway. I mean, you don't need to suck me in on TV. I'm watching anyway. It's an SEC game on Saturday in October. I'm watching. All right, you got me. It's like you don't need to start making things up, So
you're not going apple picking today, Mitch, is what you're telling us.
No, today wouldn't be my apple picking day. Today's my wife's bread baking day, so you want to be home anyway. She bakes
don't miss out on that.
She makes like these she makes the regular bread, and then she also makes like these they're like salt sticks, type of things, like the bread sticks, but they're like rolls, and they got salt and caraway seeds on them. It's like, it's a nice touch. But it's like I don't leave the house until I get my salt stick. It's for damn sure.
There you go.
I'm not gonna miss that. But I just think that I think that also we've seen when Alabama has struggled under Saban in these spots, the games that he's lost, he's only gone undefeated at Alabama twice in the regular season, right? Only 2 times in all the years that he's been there. And home, away, it's made no difference, where that loss has taken place. But you look at the key games that he's lost, outside of, the Auburn crazy games, right? I mean, those are part of it, and Gus Malzahn just has this number. But it's like, you look at, the other games that he lost, and it's Ole Miss, and then it's the Johnny Manziel Texas A&M team, right, that beat him. But it's always this team that has this wide open offense that starts dropping bombs over the top on them. And I think Ole Miss has the potential to do that. When Ole Miss had Chad Kelly a few years ago as the quarterback, they beat Alabama a couple times, and doing the same thing. And I imagine those plays are going to be available today as well against Bama. So no one stopped Ole Miss yet this year, and Alabama has looked very susceptible in the second half of games, including that game in Gainesville. Even Miami put points on them in the second half. All right. Outside of that, got no opinion. But what do you got? What do you got going on at PickDawgz, Chris?
I'll tell you first off. After you mentioned those salt sticks, Joe and Dionne D'Amico aren't going to be the only duo on the show today. You got me and then my grumbling stomach coming after them. But now today at PickDawgz Premium, I got my early riser 5-pack. I got 5 games from the 12 o'clock slot that I couldn't get past. I absolutely love all 5 of these games. Or if you're just looking for something to get you through the later part of the day, I got my Shotgun Saturday 3-pack. And I got 3 more plays on there that's going to help get you through the evening portion from 4 o'clock all the way through the night games. Yeah, either way, today's going to be a big day over at PickDawgz. I have a feeling in my gut. Maybe that's just hunger. Maybe that's just something else. But I have a feeling we got a big day coming ahead of us, so go check that out. Or you know what? I always mention on the drive-through, but the 2-for-1 capper deal, some of the best value in handicapping. Any of us you see on any of the shows, you're going to get 2 great cappers for one great price. So definitely go check that out.
I know Joe and I also have the same question. We're both thinking the same thing here. How's this moving experience for the whole relationship building going on? I know normally like moving is usually really good for a relationship. You know, it's kind of like, you know, whether you're moving a dresser or moving an entire house, moving experiences are always really good, like for, you know, for a relationship. It's usually like just a time when couples just really bond. How's it going?
We're bonding over our hatred of moving companies and of vehicle rental companies. Yeah, we're bonding over that. And there's a couple times a lamp's been thrown at my head. A couple times I dodged it. Another couple times, well, had to take a day off from work. But that's other than that. It's been a learning process. It's our first home, so it's been interesting.
Well, we wish you all the best of luck in your new home, and glad that we're all part of the experience with you. So thanks again for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow, right, for NFL football?
Absolutely. I'll be here like white on rice.
All right. That's Chris Ruffolo with us. Of course, you can find Chris on the drive-through Monday through Friday with Tony T. Got a lot of other things going on with Chris coming up as soon as he gets settled into that man cave studio / I don't know. I think it could be almost we'll call it the doghouse. It's where he'll probably be sleeping a lot of the time.
Poor guy.
But we were supposed to have Big Al was supposed to be here, but he's not here yet. So we'll just move Rod up. There's your.
There we go. Lots of people asking for Rod to get in here.
There's his cue. That
Rod.
he's being moved up, but that's okay. But that, you know, I think we've had a good mix here. We've had some under the radar games. We had the Eastern Michigan, Northern Illinois game from Joe D'Amico. Jovan brought us SEC action. Chris has got the SEC. I'm not sure what Rod has, so this is going to be a surprise for me. So hopefully it's something good. See, not well. Maybe we could bait Rod with some good discussion.
I hope something good.
Well, if not, we know there's plenty of bandwagons out there. So, but anyways, I got Chris's name on Rod. That's never a good thing. Let's see.
Make sure you guys hit that smash that like button. I can't even talk this morning. We have over 600 people watching. Thanks for joining us, guys.
As always, we appreciate each and every one of you watching. And if you haven't checked out our premium YouTube, well, it's the best deal out there. I can't find Rod's name tag on here. That's what I'm looking for. Ron?
Sure.
Rod? Chris?
It's probably hiding right there. It's great to have Rod on every weekend as well as every day.
We'll just bring him on. We'll worry about his name later. You guys know who he is.
Absolutely.
Rod, welcome to the show.
Awesome. Morning. How's it going?
Good. Well, we see Rod every day, so it's kind of like, you ready for college football week 5?
I am. I'm ready. I'm excited. I was with you. I got lambasted yesterday, so it's my first beat down in a while. So we got a nice bounce back day coming. It happens. I was with you. I watched some of those kids at halftime. It was like, yeah, we don't need to watch this anymore. Maryland, God. How many turnovers can you have? Hey, there's another one.
It just seemed that in that game, it was also one of those games where it was like, it wasn't even. They didn't even look like turnovers, and they were still giving them the football. So it's like when that starts happening, they kind of just pack it in.
Somebody's dog is going absolutely bananas.
Yeah, dogs are barking, I guess.
Dog's going nuts.
And mine's going to start barking, answering back.
Right? The Basset Hound. Basset Hound in the green room.
I love it. Rod, what games are you watching today?
So the first one we're going to start off with, I'm going to watch this Wisconsin game in Michigan. I don't think I've heard anybody talk about that one yet. So here's a battle we're going to have. I'm going to call it the battle of the can't win a conference game. Because you look, Michigan's they're 0-6 in their last 6 conference games, and you look at Wisconsin, they're 0-5 in their last 5 conference games. So I'm going to call it the battle of the can't win a conference game. You look at this Wisconsin D, and they're absolutely stout, solid on stopping the run. And what does Michigan like to do? They love to run the ball. Michigan's offensive line is just beast. And you got Blake Corum and Haskins running the rock. And for me, I think they do a half decent job at running the rock today. And I trust their offense a little more than Wisconsin. Wisconsin, you look, they're ranked 129th is their offense in the red zone. They just can't put the rock in the end zone. And you look, Michigan defense, they're pretty good as well. They're ranked 4th in points allowed, only giving up 11.8 points. So your under is probably a really solid bet, and this one is definitely, as somebody's term said, as Jovan said, it's going to be a slobber knocker. And that's, I think, what we're going to get in this one is a slobber knocker. But I'm going to take Michigan. I think Pickett gets a win today. He finally gets a big win. So give me Michigan on the money line over Wisconsin today.
Joe Madden.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a hard-fought battle. A slugfest for sure. I think the under is my safest bet on this. I know it's a low number, but I see these defenses controlling the clock, controlling this game in those trenches. So give me the under on this one.
I'm with you on the under. It's Wisconsin for me, though, in the game. I just think that they are the better team. And I think, when you have the better team at home, that is a big deal. Teams like Michigan, they just don't play on the road. And it's like, they play the bare minimum of amount of games on the road. So it's like that's why Jim Harbaugh, his record is so pitiful on the road over the years. And, not just at Michigan, at Stanford as well. It's just when you playing on the road in conference play is just a different animal. And it's like when you haven't prepared yourself to play on the road, well, then you're really in trouble. And that's the way Michigan always looks on the road, is just absolutely unprepared. We know that Camp Randall is one of the largest stadiums in all of college football, definitely in the top 3 or 4. And it will be a packed house in Madison. And I don't know if you guys have ever been to a game in Madison, but I'll just say that those people have been drinking since 3 weeks ago for this one, because my favorite shirt I saw at the Wisconsin game was, "I'm not an alcoholic, I'm just from Wisconsin." And that is the type of atmosphere that you have in Madison. It is just, it is a crazy, crazy crowd. I went to some tailgate parties there before the game, and I got to say, man, these people, they really know what they're doing when it comes to prepping for these games, and I expect them to be very lathered up, jumping around by the third quarter at the end of the third quarter, and I expect it to be a big party like it generally is when Michigan visits Wisconsin.
Tough slobber knocker battle. Gonna be close.
I think so, but I think that Michigan's failure to play road games at all leaves them unprepared for this game. And you look
this will be their first road game of the year, so we'll see how they do.
Yeah, well,
I think they get a win.
Under Harbaugh, I don't think they've won a road game in 5 years.
No, as I said, this is the battle of who can't win a conference game.
But Wisconsin,
0-6 and Wisconsin 0-5.
They lost last week, and the game was closer than the final score for the bulk of the game. But at least they went on the road and they played Notre Dame at Soldier Field. At least they did something. They didn't just sit there at home, beat up on Western Michigan, and act like they did something. That's
Michigan is 0-12 straight up as an underdog.
They're hideous, and the thing is they're major ass slappers when they've done nothing. They're Michigan, to me, like a few years ago, a friend of mine said to me, we were in Chicago when I still lived in Chicago, a friend of mine from Miami, he's like, "Oh yeah, Michigan fans are really disappointed." I forget who was the coach then. It was the guy who was the San Diego State coach, Brady Hoke. right? Oh, Michigan fans are really disappointed. And it's like, what right do they have to be disappointed about anything? It's like they have like $1 zillion in endorsements of their athletic program. They have one of the best stadiums in all of college football. They get the top of the top recruits, and they've won absolutely nothing for the last 50, 60 years, and then some. It's like we saw it in college basketball this year, the same thing. It was like just soft against the good teams. Soft, soft, soft. And everyone criticized the crap out of me. They're going to win. Remember that? They beat like somebody in the regular season, like somebody with like a 500 record, like Michigan State or something, like a down Michigan State at the time. And they're like, they're going to win the national championship. Just mark it right. It's like, they're not going to win anything. It's like, come on. And we just cashed betting against them. It was awesome. Oh, I love cashing against Michigan. It's just the money just spends so much better.
I love to see Michigan lose. So, just saying.
The money just spends so much better. Rod, what else you got?
Another one we're going to go with, probably under these radar games that most people probably aren't going to bet on, but I am. I bet on the Cougars last week, and I bet on the Cougars again this week. Cougars getting plus 7.5 points.
There's about 15 Cougars in college football. Which Cougars are
the Washington Cougars.
All right. there's about 15 of them.
They got us a win and a nice cover. So we're gonna go back to them. You look, the Cougars, they're 5-1 in their last 6 in October. They're also 5-1 ATS in their last 7 on the road versus a team with a losing record. Cougars are also 9-3 versus a team with a losing record. And you look at the Cal Bears, they're 0-4 their last 4 as a favorite. They're also 2-6 ATS in their last 8 games following an ATS win. They're also 2-8-1 in their last 11 home games. Road team in this series, 11-5 ATS the last 16. The underdog, 5-1 ATS. I'll take the Washington Cougars again, plus the 7.5 points. I think they get a cover, and I don't know if they win it outright, but I'm sure they keep it closer than the 7.5 in this one. Take the Washington Cougars plus the points.
Washington State plus the points, Joe?
I don't know in this one. Washington State plus the points, plus 7?
Plus 7.5.
Plus 7.5?
Shop your line because there's our 7s out there. So
Nick Rolovich.
Yeah.
The worst head coach, the worst
it.
cover coach in college football. So that's the issue here for me. But go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know. At plus 7.5, I would be tempted to take it. I think there's more value for me that I'm liking out there. Neither of these teams are coming in with,
Nope, both 1-3. They're not the greatest teams. Like I said, under the radar games that people are not going to be.
Well, exactly. So these are the kind of games that you look to bet. This is just one that I'm not confident in either team from what I've seen so far. So if I was going to take it, I'd be with you, Rod. I'd take Washington State plus the points here. It's
a lean to Washington State with the points. I think that you could also, if you're going to take the points, you might as well bet them on the money line too, because I think if they're there, they'll certainly have a chance to win. I think this probably is a 2-3 point game either way. Cal can't score a point. I mean, they're just. No. I mean, we saw them against Texas A&M. I think they scored 0 in that one. I don't even have the numbers up in front of me, but I can tell you they scored 0 points. Let me see this Cal offense. Points scored. How have they scored 28.8 points per game? Did they play like some cream puff and score 100?
They must have. Because that's crazy.
Yeah, they're not good. Not good.
Yeah, I like it, Rod. I think this
I'm thinking
way
Colorado.
too many
I'm
points
getting
for California
confused.
to cover.
I'm getting my teams confused. I was thinking Colorado, but it's actually Cal. Go ahead, Joe. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, I think this is too many points for California to cover. 7.5. I like it. Washington State plus those points. I think it's probably a 5-point game.
Nick Rolovich is such a bad cover coach. He's so bad at covering spreads. I'm going to pass on this game. I just can't get my arms around it. There's too many other places I'd rather be.
And another one I'm going to go with Boston College here. I think that's too many points. Clemson with all their injuries. They lost Tyler Davis. They lost Brian Bricey to a torn ACL. They also lost Shipley, running back. There's some injuries stacking up on defense isn't as stout as what it used to be. And with Boston College, the way they run the ball, I think they can run it right down Clemson's throat. And this is just way too many points in this battle. You look at Boston College, 19-7 ATS. Their last 26 as a road dog. 23-8 their last 31 in October. And you look at Clemson, they're 0-5 ATS their last 5 games. 0-4 their last 4 at home. Take Boston College. They are 4-1 ATS their last 5 in Clemson. Road team 5-1 ATS the last 6 meetings between these two. Give me Boston College plus some points. I'm going to sprinkle a little on the money line. They outright them in this one.
Joe Madden, 70% of the money on Clemson, and the line's still dropping a little bit.
Yeah, and I think it's because the public still thinks Clemson is the Clemson team we saw last season. It's a totally different team right now. They aren't covering the spread. They haven't covered the spread yet this season. Give me Boston College plus the points. I think this is one where the bookmakers are making the line way too high because they know the public will be all over it.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I think I like Boston College here. Probably not one I'm rushing to the window because I think I'm afraid of Clemson because I know they have so many athletes on this team up and down the roster. I know they have a lot of depth. They've traditionally one of the top in recruiting, but replacing Etienne and Lawrence hasn't been as easy as they thought. And like Rod said, when you're replacing those guys and then you have injuries on top of it, well, it makes it even tougher. The guys that you're hoping to do the replacement, not getting it done. But Rolovich was he just was not a good cover. Wasn't a good cover coach at Hawaii. He's not a good cover coach here at Washington State either. But that's a different story. But what do you got for sale today, Rod?
Well, for me over at PickDawgz Premium, we got college football Saturday early gridiron triple. I got a college football Saturday night conference crushers triple there, or you can get them all in my super Saturday college football touchdown play. My top 7 best bets on the board. College football. Jump aboard, $39.95. Get y'all 7.
Do you think Ruffolo? You think he was being honest about that? Like him and his fiance, how things are going during that move? Do you think?
Oh, I can see it.
I mean,
I can see him dodging laps.
I mean, my wife.
Stop napping on the couch.
My wife and I moved the outdoor table, to power wash the lanai, and I'll tell you, it's like World War VII sometimes. So I know how it gets.
Oh, I know how it gets too. Sometimes it's just like, oh no. It's like oil and water. Sometimes it just doesn't mix, and you're like, oh no. I think I'm going for a walk.
Yes, we've all been there. Anyways, thanks, Rod, for joining us. We'll see you in just a few minutes for the VIP show, which will follow this show.
Thanks for having me. Good luck, everybody. Let's get some winners.
That was Rod Zawacky. You can see him every day with us here on our show, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern on the weekends. Do this style on the weekends. During the weekdays, we all kind of just hang out and give each other a hard time. Most of the show and think about a few picks in between.
Well, everyone says we pick on Brian. I don't think it's really true.
I don't think it's the reason why everybody says that we pick on Brian is because Brian doesn't say anything. He just makes faces, right, and shakes his head and makes right so he doesn't like come out and say it. Well, we come out and say it. We don't make the faces. We just call him out on it, and it's always like, oh, you're picking on Brian. It's like I'm not picking on Brian.
No, we would never pick on Brian.
We might, but it's like in those situations that they're referring to, not necessarily the case. But next up, we have Big Al McMordie, of course, legend in sports handicapping. Welcome, Al. How you doing this morning?
Oh, I'm doing good. Sorry about my dog Walter. A few minutes back, he's hungry.
I think almost everybody that's on the show and on PickDawgz has a dog. I think we're mostly dog people. It's because I know Joe has 2 dogs. I have a dog. Yeah. Joe D'Amico has a family of dogs. Chris Ruffolo has a dog. I know. Rod, of course. So
2 dogs.
I have this one that won't stop scratching at my leg this morning.
Yeah, I probably should bring him into the office next to me, but I was trying to, get him away. But, you can't win no matter what you decide. Anyway, let's take a look at some games today. First game I'm going to take a look at the Oklahoma Sooners, currently ranked number 6 in the country. They're traveling to Manhattan today to take on the Wildcats. Now, Oklahoma has the Red River rivalry game against Texas on deck. So an open question, of course, would be, are they going to be caught looking ahead to Texas next week? And I've always found that to be an interesting question. Do teams look ahead or do teams not look ahead? Actually, that's probably the wrong question. Let's just even stipulate that teams do look ahead. The real question would be, do teams play worse the week before a big game? And I've researched this over the years, and for my money, I don't think teams play worse, but it's a very subjective thing because how do you define what a big game is? Everyone's going to have a different definition of that. But I can tell you the way I've looked at it over the years, and folks can make their own decision. One of the things I've done is I've looked at how do teams do if they've got a winning record and they're 6 games above 500, and then the team they're going to be playing the following week is also 6 games above 500. Those teams have gone 259 and 231 ATS before that big game. Another thing I've looked at is how do teams do before they play the defending national champion. They actually do quite well, 215 and 169 ATS before the team that won the championship the year before, so this year would be Alabama. And then I've also looked at rivalry games like this Red River rivalry game next week for Oklahoma. And I didn't choose the games myself. I just went to Athlon, put them in the database and see how the teams do before their big rivalry games. And I looked at the top 25 rivalries. And those teams before the rivalry game, 830 and 748, so 52.6%. And so you see this consistent theme emerge whenever you look at these big games, and teams tend to actually do better the week before the big games than than people think. People assume they're going to do worse. And I think what's going on is I think people, these teams actually do look ahead. They see a big game on the horizon and they kind of know, oh shit, we could lose that game. We better not lose this one. And maybe they play slightly better. So that's kind of what I think happens. I think it's an interesting question. Handicappers come down on different sides of that. And it's subjective, and each person can make their own decision. So I don't think Oklahoma's going to be caught looking ahead to this game. I think another reason they're not going to be caught looking ahead is you look at what Kansas State has done to this team the previous 2 years. In fact, they've done something that's never been done in the history of my database, which goes back to 1980. They won the previous 2 years as 28 and 23.5 point underdogs. No other team has lost when favored by more than 20 points in back-to-back years to the same opponent. So that's kind of crazy. And then you take a look at how teams do. When teams are double revenging teams and they lost at home to their opponent in the same or previous season, those teams are 55.5% ATS over 42 years, so 554 and 443 ATS. So I like Oklahoma here. We don't know if Skylar Thompson's going to play. He's going to be a game time decision for Coach Kleiman. So we'll see whether or not he suits up for the Wildcats. But regardless, I like Oklahoma minus the points.
Joe.
Well, how do I follow that information up? I said it before. For me, I think it's a couple too many points for Oklahoma here. I like Kansas State plus these points. I think this is a closer matchup than anyone expects in this game. So give me Kansas State plus the points.
I'm a game watcher, and, Kansas State is, it always looks like the hidden ball trick. Every play looks like the hidden ball. It's like they all kind of get together, and then the quarterback always comes around the end, runs a lot. So, if they can get Thompson back for this game, and I certainly didn't look at it that he was, but, he was listed as doubtful. But if he does make it to the field, I like Kansas State even more. I don't know I'm going to guess if he makes it to the field, he's going to be 100% effective because you can't risk a guy like that. But Spencer Rattler's just having a horrible season for Oklahoma. And, he was the Heisman favorite coming in, and he needs a big game or else, they're going to keep calling, we want Caleb in the crowd in Norman. And, of course, this one in Manhattan. Oklahoma has huge revenge factor here. The last 2 years in a row, it's been Kansas State. And this is the committee doesn't even let them pass the eye test anymore, if they lose to Kansas State. So I expect them to be fired up here. I just don't know if they have it. I don't think they match up well against Kansas State, and they haven't matched up well against Tulane or anybody else this season either. So I don't know. I struggle with it, but that is a lot. There is a lot of data that points to the Sooners here.
Well,
yeah, it makes me nervous. That's so much data. Love it. I love all the information.
No, I like it. I like it too. It's definitely a different way of looking at it, and that's why we have different handicappers on the show. And
yeah. So anyway, folks, the game starts at 3:30 Eastern. Keep an eye on the injury status for Thompson. It really is. I think it's 50-50 whether or not he plays based on everything.
That's higher than I would think because I saw doubtful.
Coach Kleiman said on Tuesday he wasn't going to play, but nobody or people close to the program think that's just gamesmanship. That he very well might play. So we'll see.
He is a good quarterback. It's a system, It's Kansas State it's that system, I like that offense for a college team.
So the second game I want to look at is my alma mater, the Michigan Wolverines, and I know I heard you guys talk about this before. Michigan's just god awful as an underdog. In fact, Joe, you didn't give them enough credit. They're not 0-12 their last 12 as an underdog. They're 0-19 the last 19 straight up as an underdog. And if they're getting 3 or more points as opposed to just 1 or more point, if they're getting 3 more points, then they're 0-23 as an underdog. So, Michigan's just, I look at the other Big Ten programs of, similar status, the Iowas, the Michigan States, the Wisconsins, et cetera. And you look at how those teams do in the same underdog role, they'll win 35% of those games straight up. Michigan can't get out of its own way when it's an underdog. It's just actually pretty pathetic, Eventually they're going to win. I don't know if it's going to be today. I'm going to look at the Wisconsin side here. Wisconsin, they got thrashed last week. It was, obviously the game was closer than the 28-point deficit would lead one to believe, but they lost by 28 as a 6-point favorite. And so they failed to cover that game by 34 points. Well, college football teams are 113 and 81 ATS if they suffered an upset loss by more than 25 points and the opponent they're now playing is not off a loss in the previous game. So that's a decent stat in favor of the Wisconsin Badgers here. Then Michigan 1 and 14 ATS if their opponent lost by more than 7 points as a favorite in its previous game. We've already touched upon how awful Michigan is, straight up as an underdog, and I got to lay the 2.5 with Wisconsin.
Joe.
Yeah, the more you guys keep talking about Wisconsin, the more I'm liking taking them. I'm still loving this under, though. I think that's a solid play. I think both these defenses are going to come out strong, but Wisconsin definitely taking this game.
Yeah, for me, it still comes back to Michigan refusing to take road games in out-of-conference games like the other teams in their conference do. And, getting that road experience makes a world of difference. Even Florida took a road game at USF this year, just to get that road experience. You have to get it. And that's why Michigan, I believe, struggles every time they go away from home, and especially, in the underdog role. We saw, Penn State come into Madison as a dog in the first week of the season and beat Wisconsin outright. I think that it just takes a different style. We saw Wisconsin's weakness was against the pass last week against Notre Dame, is how they kind of got that big score on them as they went over the top on them. I don't think Michigan has the ability to do that. So I'm on the Badgers as well. What have you got going on at PickDawgz today?
Oh, I've got a lot going on today. It's kind of a crazy day for me. This weekend's more college than pro. I had Jacksonville on Thursday, but I'm only going to have at most this entire week in pro football 4 plays. It may end up just being 3 plays. Completely different in college. I've got, I think, 14 or 15 plays right now at PickDawgz Premium. It's just one of those days where I love a lot of things. And I've got my first 5-star of the college football season, of the entire football season for that matter. I only have about 10 5-stars or 12 5-stars across football, baseball, basketball, and hockey in a 52 weeks, year. So this will be one of the 10 or 12 plays I have all year long. I don't have very many. So I got my first 5 stars, my college football conference game of the year. I'm 30 and 12, my last 42 college football conference games of the year. So that's my featured play today, but there's a lot of great plays overall. I think 14 or 15 games up at PickDawgz Premium. It's a great week to join for a week, or you want to join for the entire month of October, or teaming up with one of the other champion handicappers here at PickDawgz, that's the best way to go.
Well, you heard it firsthand there from Al. I mean, you hear that information. What that is, however many years of experience he has. It's just a different way of doing it. So it's certainly one of the best over the long haul. It's a marathon, not a sprint. We all know that. So, and Al has proved that. It's like I say, several times a show, it's not about winning one day or winning one week. It's about winning over the long term. And, that it's not as easy as winning for a day with a fake Twitter name or something. You don't see Al deleting his account when he loses a game. It's like, I think he's got the same thing as me. Whether you lose by 40 or you lose by half a point, I ain't cashing that ticket. I got to move on to the next
I'd
game.
rather lose by 40.
I'm the same way. Like last night, I was on Maryland. I saw those interceptions. I was like, I can safely change the channel and not have to worry about this one. So
you never think about those ones. You think about the ones by the half point.
Oh yeah, those are the worst. That Eagles Seahawks game from last year still leaving a mark on me. That 2-point conversion. But anyways, Al will be back with us tomorrow for NFL Sunday. Like he said, he's only got limited plays tomorrow, so I always think sometimes there's quality in if he can dial it down to 2 or 3 plays. I always struggle with that. Like trying to get it. To me, that's the hardest part, is editing and getting it down to the, those ones that you really love, because you're kind of like, I really like this one too. But anyways, we appreciate you coming on, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks, guys. Good luck today.
Best of luck, Al.
Of course, Big Al McMordie, legend in the sports handicapping.
Absolutely. That's not fair to follow after him with all his information.
Yeah, I don't think there's a bigger name out there in sports handicapping. It's
No.
Definitely excited to have him as part of our team at PickDawgz.
Absolutely. Now, we have a lot of people asking for Brian to get in here.
Well, Brian's our cleanup hitter, right? He's our last guest of the show. So, hopefully they stuck around for him.
Oh, absolutely. Do you see all those people watching right now? Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
I'm looking for his nameplate here. There he is. All right. Let's bring Brian in. Brian, welcome to the show.
Yeah, it's tough to follow Big Al. He's one of the legends of handicapping, a guy I've looked up to for probably a decade or so. So always tough to follow one of the best. But
I think the people that have been in the industry for a long time, they all know Al, and it's kind of like, they know of him or know him, and it's kind of always, in the same position that we are, where it's like, I'm a dinosaur, but I mean, he's been around longer than me, and to be able to, it's not saying he's old or whatever. I'm saying that to last in this business is not so. I mean, how many people have you seen come and go over the years?
A lot,
a real lot, and a lot of those people started gangbusters. So, easier said than done, but we got a good card of games today, Brian. What do you got? What do you got for our viewers?
I'll tell you what. The first game I'm going to go over. We'll take the Colorado Buffalo here plus the points. USC got back on track, but they're doing what they do best, and that is underachieve. They won the first game after the head coach got fired, but last week they went right back to normal with a real clunker. Colorado has lost 3 games straight here, but they should be able to bounce back here. Last time these two teams met in 2019, it was a 35-31 score. I look for a similar score again today. Home team has been a cover machine in this series. The home team 6-1-1 against the spread in the last 8 meetings between these two teams. Colorado Buffaloes 6-2 against the spread last 8 games as a home dog. I like the Colorado Buffalo here getting the points. I think USC wins this game, but it's going to be a tight one.
Joe, Colorado's struggling to score points this season. USC just struggling. What do you think?
Absolutely. And because of this, I'm looking at the under in this game. I think both these points are going to have issues putting up or both these teams are going to have issues putting up points. When we look at this matchup, in the last 5 times they have played each other, 4 of those have hit that under number. So give me the under.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on the under, but I think I could see the angle here on Colorado. USC. It
wouldn't shock me to see them lose outright, though. It wouldn't shock me.
Yeah, I mean, USC is just really, really struggling this year, and they have some injuries. Coaching changes usually works for about a week, and then we saw that, and then they came back, and I mean, it wasn't pretty against Oregon State. It wasn't like, oh, they just got upset with a last-second field goal. They got played tough, whatever. They got whooped. I mean, they got absolutely whooped last week in that game. I don't know. I struggle with Colorado because they can't score points, and that, to me, it makes it tough. So I'll probably stay off this game, but if I was there, I would actually agree with Brian. Take Colorado.
I love when you say that. You agreed with Brian.
We actually agree.
Well, we agreed last night on Maryland.
Well,
we agree. We actually agree a lot. It's when we don't agree, we really don't agree.
Yeah.
I loved Maryland last night. I looked back at my phone in the second quarter. I couldn't believe that it was the score that it was. But that was yesterday, and today, much better card in general. So,
absolutely. What else do you have for us, Brian?
All right, and this is probably my free pick of the day, and really maybe I should have put it in as a premium today. I'm going to take the Georgia Bulldogs and lay that huge number here. This is when I usually really heat up in college football as a regular season. Is when I build my bankroll for the year. I think Johnny Public versus the Sharps here, as we see Johnny Public all over the massive points being given here to 4-0 Arkansas. But while Arkansas got huge wins over Texas and Texas A&M, they are not on the same level as Georgia. Georgia wants to be the number 1 team in the nation. I think by crushing Arkansas at home like they did last year, 37-2, would really send a statement out, and that's what I think they do today. They send a statement out to the rest of the SEC that they are the best. Bulldogs 12-5 against the spread last 17 home games versus a team with a winning record. Take the Georgia Bulldogs. This is a 21-point win for them.
This line has dropped 3 full points. Joe.
Yeah, I just can't get behind Georgia. I've got to stick with Arkansas here, plus the points. They're 5-1 against the spread in their last 6 games. I think they come out, they keep this tight. They have to play all 4 quarters. That's one thing we have seen out of Arkansas. They do have letdown moments where they've got quarters where they just aren't coming out strong enough. But as long as they compete for all 4 of those quarters, I think they cover this 18 points.
Yeah, to me, it just seems, I don't know if there's going to be 18 points scored in this game. And Georgia hardly world beaters at home in the big games. More often they lose outright in the big games at home.
Not this year.
Well, we'll see. Kirby Smart does not have that on his resume. So we'll see how it goes. But I just think it's a lower scoring game than that. I think you have 2 really good defenses, and the Georgia offense really hasn't shown much.
It is down about 2 points from where it opened up.
No, it's 3.
Where it was
3.
I see it at 16.5. I think it was 18.5.
It opened 19 at the Westgate. Which is what the book that I use for the opener. To me, the Westgate is the be-all and end-all when it comes to books.
Oh, we're talking about a half.
I know the Circa is up there now, but to me, the Westgate is still, we'll have Jay on at some point, right? And
well, the line's moving in the correct.
Explain to you how those lines move.
Well, the line's moving correctly because everybody's betting Arkansas. We see a ton of action, both in bets and money, so it is moving properly. I'm not worried about Georgia.
Actually, it's showing more. It's showing that more money than bets is on Georgia, so it would actually be. It's actually moving against you. But anyways, what do you got for?
Right, I don't see that, but that's okay.
That's okay, Brian.
I got my 5-game no limit 5-pack. It includes my non-conference game of the year, my no limit bet, my game of the month play. Tons of action going on for that $50, and this is me and Mitch. A lot of guys usually take off this week because we've seen action for a couple of weeks. We got our feet on the ground here. So you want my 5-pack, $50 at PickDawgz.com. I got a bunch of big plays in there. And also check out the VIP where I'm going to give out 2 of those winners today.
All right. Well, Brian, thanks for joining us. Of course, you can see Brian every day on our live show 7 days, 5 days, Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. with Joe, Rod, and myself. Of course, Brian, if you look at his resume, always among the leaders when it's all said and done. I know not his picks, not always the most popular, and I know that. It's like, but a lot of times we agree a lot more often than people think. So, Joe, that wraps up another College Football Saturday show. Any games out there that you wanted to give out, like a free pick on anything that for our viewers, or just tell them where they can get your best bets?
Well, yeah, for all of my best bets, make sure you head on over to PickDawgz.com. You know what? I'm looking at this Coastal Carolina game, and I think Coastal Carolina and actually maybe not. Okay, I am. I'm looking at the over. I'm going to hit the over 57.5 in this Coastal Carolina game. I think we're going to see a high-scoring matchup. We've got a big spread in this. Coastal Carolina should come close to covering it, but I don't think that's where I want to put my money. I want to put my money on this over in this game. I was adding up points in my head. That's what I was doing when I was giving it out, and I see it definitely hitting this over.
I like TCU against Texas. That's going to be my free pick for this show. Joe and I, we might move it to Tuesday, but Monday and Tuesday we'd go over the NFL and college football, the early lines and opinions. We're not going to just read the things and look at the money from somebody else's stuff and whatever. We kind of give our first take on these games on college and pro. And then Friday afternoons we kind of look at the late movement, so you can get our free picks all the time. By watching those shows. They're hours long, so it's like we kind of go over everything. But I still like TCU here against Texas. I just think that Gary Patterson, the 8th highest paid coach in all of college football, coaches at TCU. Why is he the 8th highest paid coach? Because he owns Texas. He owns them. It's kind of I talk about growing up in the stands of the Orange Bowl, 120-degree heat watching a terrible team. But it's like if we beat the Gators, oh man, it was the whole season was made. And I think for TCU, Patterson's had 3 bad seasons in a row at TCU, which has been rare under his tenure. He's been more a bowl coach, a big bowl coach. Remember, he had Andy Dalton. They went to they won the Rose Bowl. With Patterson. So the thing is that they own Texas, and Steve Sarkisian, lousy ass coach for Texas. I take a good coach over a bad coach in a college football game, especially at home, any day of the week. TCU outright. Texas Tech is terrible. So they have Texas Tech and TCU. Look at the resume of Gary Patterson versus Texas. That's all you got to look at. Anyways, thank you to everyone that's watching us, and thanks to all of you for tuning in. Of course, we're going to do the VIP show now. Someone's saying PickDawgz is 3 times the viewers as the other show. I didn't even know there was another show. Anyways, thanks everyone for joining us. Have a great day. Joe, as always, a pleasure. And we'll see you guys VIP show right after this. If not, tomorrow, same time, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for our NFL show, which is going to be, we have a lot of guys on that show tomorrow, so be sure to tune in. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.